Hey guys, it's the Dev Gabe here. So you guys clicked on this video because I said connect, which with a colon and parentheses is bad, and I want to explain what I meant by that. So right here I have about 30 NPCs plus the 2 NPCs that I've made, which is a zombie and a skeleton. And the 30 NPCs are robots, and the 2 characters, the zombie and the skeleton, are separate scripts. So as you can see on the workspace, I have the zombie and the skeleton, and they both have 3 scripts, both separated by different mechanics. And mechanics is like animations and sound. Pathfinding is the pathfinding, and there's also a death sound script. And the same thing with the zombies. And then you have 30 robots. And so we'll go into the this side, and I'll be teleported right to here as soon as that timer ends. Right to this point, it's gonna teleport right now. Any second. There you go. I'm teleported into the map. The skybox changed, so the sky's yellow, and now they're attacking me. So all this is getting attacked, and you can see all these NPCs. Let's look at the script analysis or script activity, and you can see that the pathfinding skeleton has about 25 activity and 11 rate. The control robot script is the 30 NPCs, and it has 10 activity and 42 rate. Remember, this is 30 robots, and it's still having less lag than the parent skeleton and zombie. And then the pathfinding zombie has about 14 activity and 8 rate. So the zombie tends to have a little less than the skeleton because the skeleton shoots, but it's mostly identical, and the activity is a little higher than the control robot script. So you're probably wondering, how did I make 30 robots have such a low activity and have a pretty low rate compared to the skeletons and the zombie? If you looked at the analytics, if I copied the zombie 4 or 3 more times, it would basically equal the same rate as the control robots, let alone the activity will rise above that threshold. So that just shows that I made something to make this robot script fantastic. And I'll show you right now how I did it. So we're going to stop the game. And we'll look into the example script. And this is how I did the matchmaking. And later on, we'll talk about how I did the robots, but this is to explain how I did it in general. And right here, it says connections are created for each individual player. If they were 20 players, then there would be 20 character added asynchronous connections. So asynchronous connections is separated by each different connected spawn. It's like a spawn. And every connection that you create will run over another connection. So it's just like 2 connections can be in one connection, but it won't show you because it's asynchronous. Every time that you use the colon connect right here, colon connect, it's going to create a new function for every, let's say it's on player added, it's going to create a new function every time the player is passed by. And right here it says, and that's just for one connection with character added. So I'm talking about player added, but character added is even worse, because every time the character respawns, the function is going to run. And there's going to be, let's say there's 20 players, there's going to be 20 character added connections. That's a crazy amount of connections. Imagine health change connection running when you have 20 players fighting. Health change runs when the health is changed, not even when the character is added. So you have 20 different connections of the health being changed by these characters. And that's crazy. Imagine you had 80 players and you had a health change connection. That's insane. That's big performance drop. Oof. We don't talk about that. Oof. All right. They say, what's the solution? Well, introducing connection pooling. It is basically one synchronized while loop that destroys the need for connect. Connect. This is at a constant rate and has less throttling of performance. No machine works better unless if it's a constant rate. Throttling is up, down, up, down, up, down, up, etc. So it's just going up, down repeatedly. And that's throttling. That's basically what a connect does, because it only runs as soon as a connection is something is connected to it. And that's constantly going to throttle every time that there's a connection entering. And you might think, oh, it's not a big deal, but 20, 30 players, you got 30 functions that are connected inside of these parentheses. And of course, the function would be that, and an end on the end of it. Like that. Like that. And then this is also similar to combining scripts together. So this idea that I called connection pooling is the same as combining your scripts into one. Rather than having 20 different scripts, you have one. What I see a lot of early developers make is that they make 100 scripts just to have a kill brick. So let's say you have a kill brick, you have a script in each kill brick. That's really bad because you're making so much different synchronizations in each script. Every new script is another synchronization. And it's basically asynchronized. So you have 100 death bricks, you have 100 different asynchronized connection. So better just to have it all in one. Take advantage of putting no scripts and starter character scripts. So right here, you have the starter character scripts. And I already put the health and the animate. These are by default. And so it only creates one script for each player. And this is the problem. If you put something in starter character scripts, these will duplicate to every character, which is unnecessary. You don't need to put a health script inside of the starter character script. And I actually personally put a health script in here just to show you guys that I emptied it. Because if I did not put a health script and it has to be named health, it wouldn't replace the default health script that's supplied to the character. And you can look at that if you ran the game. You would look into your character. Let's say my character is don't use Rio 405. You would see that they have an animate script and a health script. So I rewrote the health script and I made it empty. So it doesn't have any issues for me. Animate is pretty bad as well. You have a lot of connections in there. I redid the animate script, and I could put that in the description as well, because this animate script is worse, which is the default, which is like 1,000 lines of code, which is crazy. 800 lines of code, that's not good. And I basically have the same animations with a line of code that's only, 117. And this goes into each individual player. You could also put the animate script in the starter player script and just call this animate and just reduce the lines. And how do you do that? Well, if you look in starter player scripts, I don't have anything in there, but you would just create a local script and then do character added by the player. Local player equals game.players.local player. And then you do player.character added and then : connect. But I talked about the pooling, but it's on the local side, so it's not a big deal. Local side is not really the problem. Server side is where the scripts should run on connect pool. But if you did run a connection pool on the client side, it would be even better. But no need to worry, because local side or the client side, these blue scripts are not a big deal compared to the server side. So let's look at the example further. So I showed you that I teleported to that red brick, and then the sky turned yellow, and it was called well, the map, the status was different, of course, but you didn't see that. But the sky basically turned yellow, and I'll show you guys how I did that right here. It says that there's a player removing, and you would just do save data. So I did use a connection here, and that's just to say that you can't have delays. So you have to use player removing connection because you can't have a delay when you're trying to save data. What if the game is crashing? You need to make sure that there's not going to be any errors or any delays in the connect. So you're going to have to use player removing connect just to make sure that there's no issues with saving players' data. But you could use player added. Here are other functions that I used right down here. And this is what I called connection pooling, which is the same thing as a while loop pool of connections. And I have the player added in here. I have the character added. I have the health region. I have the death. I have the matchmaking. And I have it all in here without using any : connect. So I put local variables. You can see that I loop through all the players multiple times. And you might be saying, oh, isn't that bad? But it's worse to have, let's say you had 30 players. You're going to have player added with 30 different connections, so that's even worse. And this is one while loop at a constant rate. Like we talked about, throttling is a big deal. And throttling is not a good thing. So you got one while loop, and that's going to run at a constant pace with all these connections, and that's a good thing. And this script should not be slowed down. If we look at the bottom of the script, you'll see that there's a task.wait. I even put the matchmaking, and I was able to teleport. This is about 216 lines of code, and I was able to do that. This will be in the description. I'll make a model for it after the video. And you can see that how I did it was that I used the attribute to make sure that it only runs one time. So attributes are a great way to ensure that there's only one running of this. You don't want 100 leader stats. You only want one. So use an attribute for each player, and each player is an individual. So my players don't use 0405, set attribute has player, and I set it to true because right now it's false because I don't have this pulse. And if we ran the game, you could see that I would have a leader stats under my players in the players folder if you want to check that out. On character added right here, you have the humanoid, you have the health now, and you also have the health regen right here. You have one time on character added using the same attribute system. You have the attribute last health regen, and I'll explain that right now. And you got the teleportation for the matchmaking. Right here, you can see health now is less than humanoid.max health. That means I took damage because the health now is a local variable of the humanoid's current health. And then right here, you might be thinking, what is this? Current clock minus the attribute of last health regen. Well, I set last health regen to 0 right here because it's going to run on one time. And if we ran the game, if you looked right here in the chat, if you notice in the beginning, I have these numbers because right here it says print health now. So it's actually recording my health, showing that it's not running 100 times because it would print out 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, but it only printed out 31 time, which shows that it will only print out when the health is actually given. And then, so the current clock is a timer that counts up, and it is subtracted by the current time, which is 0 in the beginning, and then it's greater than or equal to the health regen speed. And you can see that that's a local variable. And then we set the current last health regen to the current time, so it runs again. This is basically a timer. And this number right here, health regen speed, is the timer for it to pass through this area right here and print the health now. So it doesn't overrun over the time set. So it doesn't regen instantly because it would regen every task.wait without that clock system. So right here is the speed, health regen amount, or no, health regen speed. The amount is the HP given. So every 1 second, there would be 1 HP. And then right here, if the health is less than or equal to 0, oops, that was an accident. If the health is less than or equal to 0, and there's not an attribute of died, give them a death attribute. And if I did die, which is, I don't know if I did. I already tested this, but, oh, I think I did die. Let me see. Nope, I did not die. But I did test this game, and I did see that it printed dead every time that I got to 0. So this number right here dropped to 0. But it dropped to 22, but I didn't record it. So you just got to trust me. The matchmaking, you saw that I teleported there so that you could see that it clearly worked. And it also posted the status, which is like on the top of the screen, it said waiting. And then the timer was the amount of time that was needed to go into the map. And yeah, let's look at the control robot script. So the control robot script, I'm just going to break it down pretty easily. It's just one while loop. And I combined in this one while loop right here, update all robots status. This will be in the description as well. It has the attack in there. It has the animations. It has the sound. It has the pathfinding. And it has the death. And it has it all without using the :connect. Like we talked about, :connect is bad. And that's how I was able to get 30 NPCs without having that high, the right here, the activity was lower than the one skeleton. And that's crazy. That's absolutely insane that I was able to get less activity than the one pathfinding skeleton script, which is only one script compared to 30 control robot script. And the rate might be higher, but for 30 robots, that's pretty good. And this is 10 for just one skeleton. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Like and subscribe. And you can see the animations are in there. You can see I use a bunch of attributes, a ton of velocity checks, just to check if they moved, not moving. And I put all these notes in here so you guys will understand what the heck's going on. Because it does look a little sophisticated, but it really isn't. It's just a bunch of attributes and just making sure it doesn't run more than once. I hope you guys enjoyed. And this is DevGabe. Peace out. Also, one more thing. Don't use the destroy. Right here on the control robot script, don't use destroy and don't use ragdolls. That was one of the key things that helped me not cause major physics lag, was just removing the ragdolls and never using the destroy. Instead of using destroy, I made the weapons disappear, just hide them. But they were still on the character and they never were destroyed to begin with. When the robots died, I basically made it look like they died, but I just teleported them all the way back, gave them back their health, never made them die, and just teleported them back to where they were. Well, actually, no, at the spawn points. And the spawn points are going to be at these red dots. And yeah, red dots like these. The blue points are where they actually travel in the map. And it has other notes as well. And Humanoid never dies to avoid laggy, destroy, and cloning. I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out.